Good morning, students. This is Dhruv Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, James Engineering Management Technical Campus, Greater Noida. Today, I am going to teach you one of the elective subject in 7th semester BTech Mechanical, which is mechatronics. And nowadays, this subject importance is very important subject because it is having the lot of potential for the job in industries. Okay, so what are the things we have to go through? So that's what among all the elective subjects offered by the university, we have opted this mechatronics because it is one of the important subject nowadays. Because if you are looking for a job, so all the plants or all the industries like the Maruti Suzuki, John Deere, Volkswagens, all the automotive industries as well as the aerospace industry like the Honeywell and General Electrics, all are using the same automatic techniques and automatic machine, and all the products what we are using in the daily life, that is also a mechatronic products. Day-to-day life we are using the mechatronics products. So I have already discussed all those things in the introduction of this session of this subject. Okay, so in the second video I'm going to teach you what are the contents I'm going to cover you during your session. So this is mechanical actuation systems. Okay, so among these we will discuss the types of the motion, degree of freedom, constraints, kinematic chains, cam, gear trains, ratchet and ball, belt drive, chain drive, bearings and preloading conditions, right? I think you all are familiar enough earlier, because you have gone through those subjects whose name is theory of machine in, I think, we take 4th semester and the 5th semesters you have already gone through. Okay, 5th and the 6th semesters you already gone through. Okay, so it is in the theory of machine. In theory of machine, most of the the mechanism and most of the principle on which it is working, that is derived from the theory of machine, because the machine on which it is working, that theory is the same as the basic mechanism is having, right? So today I'm going to teach you about the mechanical systems, how it works and how their mechanism is working, right? So say device which can be considered to be the motion converter, in that they transform motion from one form to the some other required form, one form to some other required form, right? Like they transform linear motion into the rotational motion and vice versa. So whatever the things I'm telling you, the device which can transform the one form of the energy into another forms, one form of the motion to the desired form of the motion, right? Okay, so the mechanical element can be individual. The use of linkage, cam, gears, rack and pinion, chain, belt drive, etc. You all have gone through this. Okay, so what are the basic is the link. Okay, so the element or the link, so the machine starts from this basic component, that is link. Okay, so you are familiar with the linkage, we are familiar with the cams, you are familiar for the transmission of the power from one shaft to another shaft, that is what we call it the gears. You are familiar to the movement of the machine, rack and the pinion arrangement. Okay, and then another way of transmitting the power from one shaft to another shaft, or transmitting the motion from the one shaft to another shaft, that is what the chain drives, belt drives. Okay, so these all are the transmission techniques by which we are either transmitting the forces, either transmitting the motion, or either transmitting the power, right? I think you all are familiar. The rack and the pinion can be used to convert the rotational motion into the linear motions. They already you gone through in the kinematics of machine cone, right? So the many of the actions which previously were obtained by the use of mechanism are, however, often nowadays being obtained as a result of mechanical approach by the use of microprocessor system, right? Microprocessor system. Okay, so whatever the mechanism still, however, have a role in mechatronic system. I already discussed what is mechatronic system. This is not only the mechanical system. Now, this is not only the electronic system. This is not only the computer science system. This is not only the control system. Okay, this is the integrated approach. This is the combination of those interdisciplinary approach, integrated them for a specific job. Okay, so the mechatronic system in use in an automatic camera for adjusting the aperture for correct exposure, involving a mechanism for adjusting the size of the diaphragm, right? So the other function may be explained like the force amplification. And how it will be the obtained? It will be the given by the levers. Change of the speed. How can we obtain the change of the speeds? By the by the change in the gear combination, by the given gear combination. Okay, so the transfer of rotation about one axis to the rotation about the another axis. How do we perform this? By the use of the timing of the belt, right? By another timing belt, right? So the term kinematics already you gone through it. You already gone through in the theory of machine. Kinetics, okay, dynamics and statics. So these are the four categories under which we are going to study the theory of machine, okay, or any machine, okay. So the term kinematic is used for the study of the motion without regard to their forces, without considering their forces, okay. And when we consider just the motion without any consideration of the forces or any consideration of the energy involved, then we are carrying out a kinematic analysis of a mechanism. Kinematic analysis of a mechanism. So so I must tell you before going to the thorough, because the time is the constraint, I'm going to tell you. You must keep in the mind what I told you when machine is started. So become the first component. What is this? That component may known as the kinematic link, or that may be the elements. Okay, so the each part of the machine which moves relative to some other parts. Just keep in the mind, each part of the machine which moves relative to some other parts, that is what is known as kinematic link, and that is the same we call it the simple link. The same is called as the elements. So if somebody will ask you what is element, what is a simple link, and what is the kinematic link, so all are the same. So the each part of the machine which moves relative to some other parts is known as what? Kinematic link. Okay, kinematic link. And you know the link may consist of the several parts which are rigidly fastened together so that they do not move relative to one another. Let us suppose if you are talking about the example, so in a reciprocating steam engine, piston rod and the crosshead constitute one link. Connecting rod with a big and a small end bearing constitute a second link. The crankshaft and the flywheel will constitute the third link, and the cylinder, engine and the frame and the main bearing will constitute a fourth link. So accordingly, so all the simple link or the element will constitute a individual link, right? So you just keep in the mind. The link or the element that need to be a rigid body, but it must be resistant body. I must tell you what are the characteristics. What are the characteristics that link must possess? Okay, so the link should have the following two characteristics that must possess. It should have the relative motion, and it must be the resistant body. Okay, and I must tell you, you are familiar about the types of the link. In short, I'm telling link may be the rigid link, maybe the flexible link, and maybe the fluid link. So the rigid link, a rigid link is one which does not undergo any deformation while transmitting the motion. But in real practice, rigid link do not exist. If it is existing, that is not practical. Okay. So if we are talking about the flexible link, a flexible link is one which is partly deformed in a manner not to affect the transmission of motion. If you are talking about the example, then the example may be the belt drive, rope drive, chain drive, wire drive. Okay. So these are the flexible link, and they will transmit the tensile forces only. And fluid links, you are familiar. Nowadays it is very very severely used. Fluid link is one in which is formed by having a fluid in the receptacle, and the motion is transmitted through the fluid by pressure or compression only. If you are talking about their example, so you are known about hydraulic pressure, jacks and the brakes. Okay. So now come to the types of the motion. Okay, what are the types of the motions? What are the types of the motion you gone through? Okay, so one is the translational motion, and another one is the rotational motion. One is the translational motion and another one is the rotational motion, right? One is the translational motion, another one is the rotational motion. So I must tell you rotation you are familiar, rotate, and translation you are familiar. Okay, so movement which can be resolved into the component along one or more than three axes. That is what translation motion. Okay, and then if you are talking about the rotational motion, so in that case, if you will come to know that the movement which can be resolved into the component along one or more than three axes. That is what we are talking about the rotation. Right? Now, you must know, you must familiar about the freedom and the constraints. So an important aspect in design of mechanical element is the orientation and their arrangement of element and their parts. Okay, so body is a body that is free in the space. You can see a body, suppose a body which is free in the space that can move into the three independent mutually perpendicular direction and rotate in three ways about direction, and that may be rotate with respect to the x direction, that may be rotate with respect to the y direction, that may be rotated according to the z direction, right? According to the z direction. So it is said to have the 6 degree of freedom. So the number of degree of freedom is the number of component of motion that are required in order to generate the motion. So before going to next, I must tell you about the constraints motion. You are familiar about the kinematic pair. How do you understand the kinematic pair? The two link or the element of a machine, when in contact with each other, are said to form a pair. Pair. Single cannot be a pair. When single coupled with one more, then it will coupled into the pair. So the two link or the two element of a machine, when in contact with each other, are said to form a pair. If the relative motion between them is completely or successfully constrained, the pair is known as the kinematic pair. And you are familiar about the type of the constrained motion. So in short, I am telling you completely constrained motion, incompletely constrained motion, and successfully constrained motion. So I must tell you completely constrained motion. What is completely constrained motion? When the motion between the pair is limited to a definite direction, irrespective of the direction of the force applied, then the motion is said to be completely constrained motion. Let us suppose the piston and the cylinder form a pair, okay, and the motion of the piston is limited to a definite direction. Okay, what? They will only reciprocate relative to the cylinder, but it is irrespective of the direction of motion of the crank. Okay, so let us suppose if you are generating the motion of a square bar in a square hole. Let us suppose you have a square bar and that must be inserted into the square hole. So that is what? Completely constrained motion. And the motion of the shaft with the collar at the each end in a circular hole. That is also the example of the completely constrained motion. I told you earlier that a square bar inserted into the square hole. So what kind of motion they have? What kind of possible motion they have? Only they can reciprocate. They will go inside and outside. Other motion is not possible. So that is what we call it the completely constrained motion. Then I am talking about the incomplete constrained motion. Incomplete constrained motion, when the motion between a pair can takes place in more than one direction, then the motion is called an incompletely constrained motion. Okay. So the change in the direction of impressed force may alter the direction of relative motion between the pair. Let us suppose a circular bar or shaft in a circular hole. Okay, this is the example of incompletely constrained motion. Why it is so? Because that may either rotate or slide in a hole. Okay, so these two motion have no relationship with each other. That is incompletely constrained motion. And last, we are talking about the successfully constrained motion. So what is successfully constrained motion? So when the motion between the element forming a pair is such that the constrained motion is not completed by itself, but by some other means, then the motion is said to be the successfully constrained motion. Suppose a shaft in the footstep bearing. Okay, the shaft may rotate in a bearing or it may move upward. This may cause the incomplete constrained motion. But if the load is placed on the shaft from the top to prevent any axial upward movement of the shaft, then the motion of the pair is said to be the successfully constrained motion. So I can say the motion of IC engine valve, and another example you can say the piston reciprocating inside the cylinder are example of successfully constrained motion, right? Successfully constrained motion. So in diagram 1 you can say just this one translational degree of freedom, because only one possibility is having. In second diagram you will see the joint which having the translational degree of freedom, one rotation degree of freedom. So you must know, I think you are familiar with the kinematic chain. When the kinematic pairs that already discussed are coupled in such a way that the last link is joined to the first link in such a way that to transmit a definite amount of motion, it is called kinematic chain. In another way you can say a kinematic chain may be defined as a combination of kinematic pairs joined in such a way that each link form a part of two pair and the relative motion between the link or the element is completely or the successfully constrained. So you are familiar about the relation between the link and the pair. So you are familiar L is equal to 2p minus 4. And you know another example between the number of links and the number of the joints which constitute a kinematic chain, that is what J is equal to 3 by 2 of L minus 2. Okay, minus 2. You must memorize all those things. We must memorize all those things together so that you are familiar to go for. Okay, so I already told you what is kinematic chain. Just keep in the mind, when the kinematic pairs are coupled in such a way that the last link is joined to the first link to transmit definite motion, or you can say completely or successfully constrained motion, it is called the kinematic chain. It is what called the kinematic chain. Okay, a rigid body has two or more points attached to other link is termed as nodes. Okay, what the terms are nodes, and each link is capable of moving relative to its neighboring link. Okay, so a joint is a connection between the two connected links at their nodes, and which may allow some motion between the connected links. If we are talking about the levers, we are talking about the crank, connecting rods, piston, slider, pulley, belt and shaft. All are the example of link. So in diagram you will see with the two nodes, a link having the two nodes, okay, with three nodes, okay, and with four nodes. Means each node is coupled with another nodes and they will execute some motion, some kind of motion. So the kinematic chain having the 1 degree of freedom, kinematic chain having the 2 degree of freedom, and kinematic chain having the 3 degree of freedom. Okay, so I think you are familiar about the joints. You know, 3 joints you have studied so far. One is the binary joints, another one is the tertiary joints, another one is the quaternary joints. So binary joints, when the two links are joined at the same connection, the joint is known as the binary joint. Okay, joint when is known as the binary joints. Okay, ternary joints, when the three links are joined together at the same connection, the joint is called as the ternary joint. Okay, so it is equivalent to two binary joint and one three link joint, right? Then the quaternary, when the four links are joined at the same connection, when the four nodes are joined at the same connection, the joint is called the quaternary joint, right? So furthermore, we are talking about the mechanism. What are the mechanism? A sequence of joint linked is known as the kinematic chain. That I already told you, kinematic chain. Okay, kinematic chain. When the kinematic pairs are coupled in such a way that the last link is joined to the first link to transmit the definite motion. So for a kinematic chain to transmit the motion, one link must be fixed movement. Okay, so movement of one link will then produce the predictable relative movement of the other. That is what we call it the mechanism. So you must remember the definition of mechanism. When one of the link of the kinematic chain is fixed, and the chain is also known as mechanism. Okay, so it may be used for transmitting or transforming the motion. Okay, we can say engine indicator, typewriter. These are the mechanisms. So it is possible to obtain from one kinematic chain a number of different mechanisms by having a different link as fixed ones. Okay, so the design of many mechanisms are based on the two basic form of kinematic chain: the 4-bar chain, that is what we call it the simplest chain, and the slider crank chain mechanism. Okay, so we will see this diagram. This diagram is showing the reciprocating motion of the piston, and that is transformed into the rotational motion of the crankshaft. That transformed into the rotational motion of the crankshaft on bearing mounted on a fixed frame, right? Okay, so you will see this diagram. This diagram is showing the reciprocating motion. This is the reciprocating. This is the reciprocating motion. A reciprocating motion of the piston transformed into the rotational motion of the crankshaft. What? The rotational motion of the crankshaft. Okay, in a fixed frame, right? So we are talking about the 4-bar mechanism, and 4-bar mechanism is also known as 4-bar mechanism is also known as simple what we call it 4-bar mechanism is also known as the quadratic cycle chain. Okay, quadratic cycle chain or the simple chain. What we call it the simple chain, 4-bar mechanism. It consists of the 4 link, okay, and connected to keep the 4 joints about which the turning can occurs. So you can see here, this is what 4-bar chain mechanism. They are having the 4 links. In first diagram you will see double lever. In first diagram you will see this is they are having the 1, 2, 3, 4 links. Okay, in which one link is fixed. Link 3 is fixed. Okay, so that may cause the two motion. This is what the shortest one is the crank. The shortest one is the crank. So I think you are familiar about the Grasshoff's law. So what is Grasshoff's law? Grasshoff's law. What is the statement of the Grasshoff's law for a 4-bar chain mechanism? Okay, so what they told, the sum of the shortest and the longest length, the sum of the shortest and the longest link length should not be greater than the sum of the remaining 2 link if there is to be continuous relative motion between the 2 link. That is what Grasshoff's law is. Okay, that is what we call it the Grasshoff's law. In second diagram you will see the lever crank mechanism. In second diagram you will see the lever crank mechanism. This is also known as the beam engine. This is also known as the beam engine. This is also known as the beam engine. A part of the mechanism of the beam, okay, this is known as the crank and the lever mechanism, which consists of the 4 links that is shown in the diagram. Okay, that is shown in the diagram. And in this mechanism, when the crank rotates about the fixed center A, rotates about the fixed center. Suppose this is A. Okay, this is A. Okay, this is A. Okay, so the lever oscillate about the fixed center D. Lever oscillate about the fixed center D. Right? So the end E of the lever That is what the in, this is the lever. Okay, the in E of the lever, okay, is connected to a piston rod. And which one is the piston rod? This is what the piston rod is. Okay, this is what the piston rod, and which reciprocate due to the rotation of the crank. And why it is reciprocate? Due to the rotation of this crankshaft. This rotation of crankshaft. So in other words, you can say the purpose of this mechanism. The purpose of this mechanism is what? The purpose of this mechanism is to convert the rotary motion into the reciprocating motion. The purpose of this is the purpose of this mechanism. I think you are familiar. The purpose of the crank and the lever mechanism is to convert the rotary motion into the reciprocating motion, right? This is also known as the beam engine. This is also known as the beam engine. And last one is the double crank mechanism. Sometimes it is called the coupling rod of the locomotive. This is what? Coupling rod of the locomotive. This is what we call the coupling rod of the locomotive. You know, the what is the objective of the coupling double crank mechanism? That is what we call it, the coupling rod of locomotive. You know where it is used? You know where it is used? The mechanism of coupling rod of locomotive, which consists of 4 rings. And you know the locomotives, you know, the Indian Railway in the past days were run by this mechanism only. Okay, so in this mechanism, this mechanism is meant for transmitting a rotary motion from one wheel to the another wheel. Rotary motion of one wheel to the another wheel. One wheel to the another wheel. So the objective of double crank mechanism is what? Meant for the transmitting the rotary motion from one wheel to the another wheel. Okay, so I must tell you, in first diagram double lever mechanism, in first diagram the double lever mechanism, the mechanism is transforming what? Rotary motion into the oscillating. Rotary motion into the oscillating. Rotary motion of the crank is crank into the oscillating motion like this. Oscillating motion like this, right? Okay. So I am continuing the kinematic chain. So the 4-bar chain mechanism. Okay. So the example of mechanism can be used to advance the film in a sine camera, right? So the link 1 rotates. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4. The link 1 rotate. Okay. The link 1 rotates so that here you will see the link 1 rotates. So the end of the link 2 lock into the sprockets. So the film pulls it forward before releasing, okay, and moving up and back to into the next sprocket, back to the next sprocket. So this is act as a beam engine. This is act as a beam engine. Okay, this is act as a beam engine. Okay. So some of the linkage may have the toggle positions. These positions where the linkage will not react to any input for one of its link. Okay, so the figure below you will see this diagram illustrates such a toggle being the linkage used to control the movement of the tailgate of a truck, so that when the link 2 reaches the horizontal position, when this link 2 reaches a horizontal position, okay, link 2 reaches a horizontal position, okay, so reaches a horizontal position, no further load on the link 2 will cause any further movements. If you are talking about this diagram, okay, so if you are talking about this diagram, when this may be when the 2 is in the horizontal position. So there is another toggle positions for the linkage, and that is when the link 3 and the 4 both are the vertical. Both are vertical and tailgate is vertical. So 3 and 4 both are in the vertical directions, and one is another vertical directions. Okay, and the last slide is the slider crank mechanism. What we call it, the slider crank chain mechanism. Okay, so single slider crank chain mechanism is the modification of basic 4-bar. This is actually the modification of the basic 4-bar chain. Okay, it consists of 1 sliding pair and the 3 turning pair. It consists of 1 sliding pair and 3 turning pairs, right? sliding pairs and 3 turning pairs, and usually found in the reciprocating steam engine mechanism. Okay, and this type of mechanism converts. What is the objective of this mechanism? What is the objective of this mechanism? What is the objective of this mechanism? The objective of this mechanism is the objective of this mechanism is to convert a rotary motion into the reciprocating motion. What? A rotary motion of the crank. This is what? Rotary motion of the crank. Rotary motion of the crank into the reciprocating motion of the piston. Reciprocating motion of the piston. So you just keep in the mind. This is I'm talking about the single slider crank chain mechanism. Okay, so their basic is to what? So this type of mechanism convert the rotary motion into the reciprocating motion and vice versa. Okay, so for the further classes you must keep in the mind all those concepts what I discussed with you. Okay, because without this you cannot generalize the concept what we were the further coming. Okay, so we will meet again in the next lecture. We'll meet again in the next lecture. So thank you all.